giving thanks to God, not just having the sentiment of thanks, not just having the feeling of thanks, not just having the sensation of gratitude, which, you know, you can feel it in your body, in your physiology, when someone has done you a great favor and a great service, and you think, oh, thank you so much. There's a feeling in your arms and legs, in your chest that is suffusive, and you might say raises your skin temperature a degree for that moment, as you have that sense of gratitude, that physical sense of gratefulness and relief that something has happened. I remember recently I at a very dangerous intersection here in Hickson, I made a left turn against traffic, and I made, it was a mistake, and by God's providence, I wasn't hit on the side by two cars that I thought were stopping, but weren't. And as I was going to visit someone in the hospital at Memorial Hickson. And as I parked, a police officer kind of rushed up and said, "Was that you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, that was me." And I was so I was so relieved that I wasn't killed, that I was still warm in my jacket at that sense. And the officer said, "You know, you could have been killed in that accident. It's a very dangerous intersection, and that's happened before. And I just wanted you to know that you need to be very, very careful about that intersection." And I said, "Officer, you're right. I'm so glad you pointed that out to me." And I'm just cursing myself, as it were, dealing with the effect of that sense. So I was grateful to him to tell me something that needed to be told to me kind of sternly, and I was thankful to God that I had not been hit. Well, Thanksgiving, as I say, is just ahead, and there are ministries here in Chattanooga that want to be grateful for you, my listener, here on the David Tulis Show at 92.7 FM and 95.3 FM. We want you to consider how you might give graciously to works of charity in God, for God's glory and in God's name here in Chattanooga. One of the ones that I want to mention to you now is Maclellan Shelter for Families. It's here in town, and we have Theresa Biggs who's going to talk about the work there, and also to bring up a kind of a fun event on Thanksgiving morning that will give you a way to maybe not be self-absorbed on Thanksgiving morning, but thinking about other people and saying, well, we're a blessed family, and we're going to do something this morning that we haven't done before. We're going to take part in a 5-kilometer walk. Theresa, what's the 5-kilometer walk about? Where, and what does my listener need to know?
Well, it happens on Thanksgiving morning at Coolidge Park, and it starts at 8 a.m., but we have festivities that actually start around 7:30. So it is an amazing event. It is a 5K, and it is a run, walk, roller, stroll is like what I like to tell people. But this is our 18th year, so this is something that's been going on for quite some time now. And we actually have around 4,200 people who come together on Thanksgiving morning, and it is an amazing, amazing time. If you've not been out and you haven't participated, I have to tell you, it is the most fun you'll ever have on Thanksgiving morning. But beyond that, and the reason we do it is because of the homeless families that we have here in Chattanooga. And many people may not be aware of the homeless situation that we have, but through my day job at the Housing Authority, I actually meet people all throughout the day that are in need for various reasons. I spend a lot of my time at the community kitchen and on 11th Street. And really, you know, I've been through some stuff. Everybody has a story. And to be honest with you, I was a single mom for many years, 2 kids. And my ministry actually started at the Waffle House about 33 years ago. So, you know, I really have a heart for women and children, particularly those that are homeless. And so through my day job with the Housing Authority, I work directly with the families at the shelter, many of the families, to try to help them get from the shelter into permanent housing via the Chattanooga Housing Authority into their permanent housing programs. So, and part of what I do is I have a homeless ministry called Exodus. And what happens is once someone comes off the street into the shelter, you know, there is a transition period. So to get from the shelter into permanent housing, you need money. You need resources. You need deposits. You need rent. You need furniture. Everybody needs furniture. So what I do is once they have found permanent housing, once we found permanent housing, I help them with those immediate needs. So maybe it's to help them get a job. Maybe they need a bus pass because now they're working. They need to get to work. But many of the families that I work with are moms with children. So, and they have, a number of children. They have no transportation. So I work with them. I take them places. I take them on job interviews. I take them to look for housing. And not only that, and above all of that, I think what's most important is we pick them up on Sundays and bring them to church at Abba's house in Hickson, and we create family.
This is David Tulis, and we're talking with Theresa Biggs. Caller, what's on your mind?
Bad things happen to good people, and Theresa, you're doing admirable work. And the nation is wealthy. No one should go homeless, and no kid should ever go hungry or without a roof over their head. And that's coming from somebody who's far right as you can go without falling off the cliff. No excuse for that. This Friday, I know Nooga Radio is going to be at the Community Kitchen. Summer Cares event for the homeless veterans. And all over Chattanooga for the past couple of months, there's been a collection of, you can't believe it, toothpaste, toothbrush, Bibles, blankets. I mean, there's so many of these going to be put into shoe boxes and handed to homeless vets on November the 10th. And Nooga Radio is going to be covering it for a couple of hours this coming Friday. And then the extras will go to, obviously, the other homeless individuals. But Summer, who's 11 years old, came up with the idea. And she said she wanted to take care of homeless veterans. That was her idea on her own at 11 years old, and I think that's great. I think what you're doing is great. And I'm sure David and the radio station will support anything you guys want to do as far as promoting it or PSA. But thank you for your caring. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Well, go ahead, Theresa. You're telling a little bit more about the Grateful Gobbler Walk, and I'd like to hear more about the Maclellan Shelter for Families. What goes on there? Where is it?
Okay, well, it actually is connected to the Community Kitchen on 11th Street, and the shelter opened up in December of 2014. And since that time, they've actually been able to help over 200 families comprised of 500 men, women, and children that actually come through the shelter. And it is the only shelter of its kind here in Chattanooga that actually keeps families intact. And what I mean by that is if you are a single father with a daughter, you're typically unable to be sheltered together. So this is a family shelter, the only one of its kind. And it is the Community Kitchen does oversee the shelter. And they've partnered with the Housing Authority, and we work together in conjunction to help get these families into permanent housing and then ultimately into jobs and whatever needs that they may have to help them become self-sufficient.
Well, can you be specific about a family maybe who's come in the past 6 months, and who the dad is, who the mom is, and what happened to their estate, if you will?
Okay. Well, just to give you one example, we had a mom and dad, and typically, I'll just tell you this: I don't see that often. I see mostly single family homes, like with a mom or a dad with children. So not a lot of families together. But I have recently was able to house a family, a mom and dad with 5 children. They had been sleeping behind a Walmart in another city, and a very generous person actually helped them with bus tickets to get on a bus to come to Chattanooga. And oftentimes when I talk to people on the street and ask them how did they get here, they'll say Chattanooga has the most resources for anyone that's homeless. So they will actually get on a bus and come to Chattanooga, and they're homeless here. But fortunately, there are very generous people out there that will help and assist them. But the shelter is so near and dear to my heart because that's what, God has called me to do. God has called me to reach those that may not necessarily, be someone that's easily housed. Some of the people that I do minister to have mental illness. They may have an addiction, and permanent housing may not be the immediate resource that they need at that time. It could be a recovery program, which I'll, send them to a recovery program, or it could be for a mental health.
Through whom?
Well, actually, I send them to Life Changers Ministry in Pigeon Forge, or also in West Virginia. Those kind of my go-to. Also, Teen Challenge. I absolutely love Teen Challenge here locally in Chattanooga. But a lot of the people that I do deal with, if they have an addiction and all their friends and playmates are here, I like to get them out of town, and the likelihood of recovery is so much greater. My niece is actually in one of their programs right now in Life Changers, and she's been there for, I guess, over 6 months, and she's doing great. This is her 13th program that she's been into. So we are believing God that she will be well and whole, and she's going to do great things.
This is David Tulis. We're talking with Theresa Biggs, and she's here from the Grateful Gobbler 5K walk, which is Thanksgiving morning from 8 o'clock. Now, what if my listener Teresa has plans that are sometime in the late morning. How long does this walk go?
It is so quick. I mean, literally, you could be home by 10 o'clock. So you can come in, do the walk. It is a 5K. You can be home cooking your turkey in the oven by 10 o'clock. But for those that say, I am not getting up on Thanksgiving morning, I am going to sleep in, I am a sleepyhead, you can be a sleepwalker. I thought that was pretty creative. That was only $15. It's $25 to be a walker. You get a T-shirt, and then if you wanted to be a virtual walker, we're on track to get 50 states strong. Betsy's Brigade has been top #1 for the last few years, and I think last year she got 38 states to actually walk virtually wherever they were, and which was pretty awesome. And we raised over $200,000 last year. Our goal is $225,000 this year for the shelter. And it is our only fundraiser of the year. It's absolutely our only fundraiser. And so for anyone that says, you know what, I don't want to be a sleepwalker, I don't want to be a virtual walker, I'm not coming out to walk, you can make a donation on our website at gratefulgobblerwalk.org.
What's the budget? I read a story about Maclellan Shelter for Families from 2015. It was a year old. And I think I'm trying to remember, it was a $700,000 expense to build that building, and then there was a reference to about $500,000. What's the budget?
Oh, wow.
Theresa Biggs.
Okay, I'm so sorry, David. I don't have that information. I am the gobble girl. They have me out doing these gobble gigs all over town, so I'm just the turkey in the tutu. So
there's some private giving from, I'm guessing, the Maclellan Foundation. This is Maclellan family money, right, that got this going.
Yes, absolutely. And they actually underwrite, and that's why every penny, it's so important to let the audience know that every penny that is raised from this event does go directly to the shelter. The Maclellan Foundation actually underwrites any cost. So anything that the T-shirts and all of that is underwritten by Maclellan, so every penny goes directly to the shelter.
Well, one question I have about you, Theresa Biggs, that I'm just sort of confused at hearing. I hear about three ministries. Okay, you're employed as a government worker at the Housing Authority. You're also connected with the Maclellan Shelter for Families, I guess, in some way. And that's number two. And then the third part of your life in helping people is the Exodus ministry that you said is yours. Say something about that. Your personal endeavors, Theresa Biggs, for the homeless. What's that about?
Okay, well, actually, this is so awesome how this has come together, because it's a beautiful partnership. So in 2000, I've been in the Housing Authority for 13 years, but I had really been praying that the Lord would, for lack of a better word, deliver me, and that my job would not be funded with government funds, that I would be free to minister wherever I go. So marketplace ministry was my prayer. And so 3 years ago, through that, just God moving and intervening, I was actually funded by the Maclellan Foundation. So there were zero government dollars attached to my job. Even though I am housed at the Housing Authority, I work under the Housing Authority. I'm funded by the Maclellan Foundation, which really allows me to minister in the marketplace.
Well, that explains something to me, because it's not often that you hear a government worker per se saying some of the things that you've expressed, Theresa Biggs. So you're not a government worker directly. You're not on the you might say the Yankee payroll, but you're there serving its clients in your gifts, but also you have these other tangents, if you will. The Exodus ministry being one. Now you mentioned marketplace ministry. Is that a name, Theresa, that's funded by the Maclellan Foundation, or is that just your description of what Exodus is all about?
That's just my description. It's just, I believe that everywhere we go, that we have the opportunity to minister, and whether I'm on the street or whether I'm in the Housing Authority, wherever I am, the community kitchen, I just believe that we are to minister to whoever God brings to us. So we stop for the ones, so we can stop for the ones. So I'm so grateful just for the opportunity, and I know that God has truly written this, and I'm grateful for the Grateful Gobbler. I'm grateful that it's that we're able to do this every year, our 18th year, which is amazing. And I just want to encourage people to go to our website at gratefulgobblerwalk.org. Can I hold up this poster?
Sure, gratefulgobblerwalk.org. I'm holding up our poster here for you on YouTube. You can see it correctly. Of course, on Facebook, everything's backwards. We really can't explain that, but Facebook is still working on that problem. So it's Grateful Gobbler Walk. It's Thanksgiving morning, $25 for an individual. and $10 for young people up to age 12. Again, this is not expense. This is giving. It's just a give this much, and you can have someone walk in. It's all convivial and friendly and very loco-centric, right? It's a very loco-centric, local economy charity. And the good thing about it, Teresa, is that people are able to, as they are together on this walk in Coolidge Park, they're able to get acquainted with people. They're able to meet new folks walking maybe the same speed as they, or if they pause for a few minutes, they'll sidle up to some new party, also with a charitable interest, caring about Maclellan Shelter for Families and your work at Exodus. What else can you tell my listener about, Teresa?
Well, I do want to say a little bit more about the shelter. It's 13 units with 64 beds, and they stay full. I mean, they are constantly full. It is very difficult to get in there. So that's why I said, I would love, my desire and my dream is to build a dream center here in Chattanooga. And if people aren't familiar with that, there was a dream center that was created in Los Angeles probably 20 plus years ago. And so I would love to have that here, and that basically would be a place where it would be a shelter for families, and then also, and I want to do it in Hickson. So if anybody's listening, this is a dream and a prayer that I've had for many, many, many years. And so it is so desperately needed. My phone rings 24/7. I'm never off duty.
You mentioned Dream Center, and I'm about to dream about what it's about, but give me the outlines a little bit more clearly, Teresa.
Okay, basically what it would be a shelter. It would also have a clothing closet, a food pantry. It would have counseling. It would have like a Celebrate Recovery program. It would have GED training. It would have job training. It would have, you name it. Everything that a person needs. And it would be affiliated with churches, because that to me is the most important thing that I see missing today in what we're doing in our work is basically family. It's creating that environment, because so many of the people that I come in contact with on a daily basis for various reasons don't have family, or they have family and they pretty much wash their hands at this point because of things or their behaviors. And I get that, but God is so good that, you know what, he gives us an opportunity. He never gives up on us. So that's why I say, I am so believing that God's going to do greater things here in Chattanooga. And we're going to be able to meet the needs and help people that had recently housed in the last 2 months, 6 families, yes. But they all have jobs now. And I'm like, that's huge. That's huge to help them become self-sufficient and help them with whatever counseling needs they may have. And to really address the root of why they became homeless to begin with. It's one thing to give to somebody and to meet that need. And yes, we want to do that, but we want to feed them the word and have them renew their mind.
Now, the root of homelessness is often broken relationships. First of all, broken relationship with God, but then also, as you mentioned, bad relationships with family members. One, in the way God has made humankind, we have families first, and those should be our first resources and recourse when we have a distress, like a lost job, a bankruptcy, an eviction, foreclosure. We should be able to say to family, "Can you put us up for 2 months or 6 months? Can you share your house with us?" And so family members are the ones who most likely, the way God made things, will say, "Yes, okay, we'll make do. We know it's hard for you, and it's hard for us, but really we're here to help you. We're blood. We have an affinity in past and relations and parentage and ancestors, so we're going to care about you." And so that is really the work of grace, that there can be reconciliation. But people who are homeless often have burned all their bridges. They've stolen from their relatives. They've broken house rules when they've been put up with someone. They've taken things. They've been disrespectful. They've not cared about the homeowner. They've not offered to do any chores, like can I do your lawn for you, or I see you've got some really dirty floors. I hear, do you mind if I clean them? People, they're guests in their distress of a family member, and they don't do anything. They're just waiting to be served, and that's a lack of grace. It's a lack of consideration. And so, if you mend these family ties, Theresa Biggs, you can have a man get on his feet with a little help, but he just has to think about reconciliation.
Absolutely.
Which seems to be one of your main ideas.
It is, absolutely.
Well, you, my listener, you are the man who matters. I really appreciate you giving me just a couple minutes of your time here. David Tulis, that's me. We're here at Nooga Radio, and Theresa Biggs is here to discuss the Grateful Gobbler. And I have a call, and caller, you're live on the air with David Tulis. What's on your mind?
David, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I don't think most people that are homeless are like that. You know, there's a problem in this country. There's a lot of people that need to be on medication that aren't, either because of a family issue that's hereditary with a psychiatric issue, a problem, or they've abused drugs or alcohol. And you heard Jim Hammond say 30% of the people in this jail shouldn't be there. They need to be on medication. So
because they have mental problems.
Christians, then we have to not only help the unborn babies that are being murdered, but the people on the street that are about the equivalent of an 8-year-old. You know, here's what it comes down to. Would you allow these people that are, let's say, have a psychiatric issue, sign a contract? Well, of course you wouldn't, as you wouldn't let a kid under 18. So we have to look at them not with pity, but as the same way in their journey of life, is that if they're not capable of signing a contract because they don't have the mental capacity as someone under 18 doesn't because their brain is still developing, then we should look at that 35-year-old or 22-year-old male or female that's in that situation as someone that needs assistance as a kid would under 18.
Good point, Mike. Thank you very much.
Okay,
thanks.
And I have to say, David, I have to agree because, I mean, every
you have to agree with Mike. That's fine.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Why don't you elaborate on his point?
Well, many people that I work with personally actually do have either an addiction or mental illness. So housing first may not be the immediate thing for them. It may be I have a young lady today that I need to go find. I looked for her yesterday at the kitchen, struggling with mental illness, sleeping on the dock. I went to find her yesterday because we had some trouble with her last week, and I just wanted to talk to her. But that's the thing, you know, they may need medication, but if they have medication, a lot of times they don't take their medication. So I'm very, very familiar with all of this, and so it's good discussion.
Well, you, my listener, the Man Who Matters, think about that. You've been doing some selling. The market is at a peak. There's very little left under the equities anymore, and I expect you are thinking of a great collapse in the valuations of these paper assets. You've gotten out. Now you've got a lot of money in liquid cash. You've had to open a new bank account to take care of some of those extra tens of thousands of dollars, and because you want to get the FDA guarantee on your deposit. So you've had to do that. And in fact, you've had to open an account in another lender to get that guarantee for this liquid money that's come into you. Now, you need to think about supporting this work. I would like to suggest, again, go to gratefulgobblerwalk.org, gratefulgobblerwalk.org, and you, my listener, write the big check. I suggest you contact Theresa Biggs. And Theresa, what's the best way for my listener to give you a quick call?
Oh, if they wanted to reach out, they can give me a call. My number is 423-834-4791. 423-834-4791.
And this is David Tulis. Theresa Biggs, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, David.
Pleasure. Theresa Biggs is pumping the Grateful Gobbler Walk. Again, it's Thanksgiving morning at 8 o'clock until 10. Meet your friends. You'll meet people you haven't seen in 4 or 5 years at the Grateful Gobbler Walk. So go ahead and sign up. Make a donation. It's $25 for you to walk. Your wife would be another $25. If you have your 9-year-old, that would be just $10. Again, these are donations. This is David Tulis. Go to the gratefulgobblerwalk.org and sign up now. Give heart to these good people. David Tulis.
Amen.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio.